welcome to Ready for Action's latest podcast. You're joining with me, Ash.
Got myself, Dan Smedley.
Self, Josh Bloor.
And in the wings, Dan Jones.
He almost forgot his name.
Yeah,
I did. That's yeah.
Well,
It's too warm in here.
We're sat in the conservatory, sweating our nuts.
I think it's one of those Swedish saunas we're sat in, really.
We're just in our pants.
Got the coals on. Kicking out some heat, it's all fine.
Giving the next door neighbour something to look at.
And you're wondering why we're in the sauna today, and that's because we are talking about cooking up decks.
Alright. So this episode is all about deck building and kind of the process that we take, what we include.
Yeah, we all take a different approach, so we're all going to go through that and try and work out why I put 3 end phase cards into my deck. So.
Hang on, wait, you're saying we have strategies for deck building?
You clearly don't. So anyway, what we've been up to lately? Bit of an introduction, a bit of a couple of minutes. Jonesy, do you want to start?
So I've mainly been painting since UK Games Expo. Finished off Thunderic and currently painting through Mollog. We went to Boards and Swords, which was, how many weeks ago was that?
3 or
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Hoped to get a cast in for that, but we were, as usual, I took too long to play my games and missed all the break times.
Slow play.
Yes. That and eating chicken. And but yeah, managed a 3rd place in that. Wasn't too bad.
How did you get on, Josh?
Well, in that Boards and Swords, yeah, I won that. Quite easy.
Did you not lose the final though?
Well, I wouldn't really call it a final. I had to give this lad. He looked a bit down. He'd lost all of his games and that, so I threw a match for him.
So what you've been up to, Josh? You brought a box round and hoping that we'll get a game of it tonight.
Yes, brought a bit of Batman with us. Been starting that, which as anyone who can see in one of our YouTube videos, that I've actually done my log and Batsquig.
Nice.
That's something I've recently painted up.
Definitely a fanboy, aren't you? You do love that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's cool.
Been to the Grand Clash recently.
The first 2-day Grand Clash.
Yeah, first 2-day one, yeah.
Well, me and Josh don't know it was 2 days, really.
Only the select few got through to the second day.
Yeah, but it was one of them. It was a moral choice of will you beat up a kid to get into the top 16?
And the answer to that is yes, I would.
Yeah, and not been much else really. Just Boards and Swords, Grand Clash. Been looking at a few other decks and that, but about it for me. What about yourself, Smed?
Well, went to the same Grand Clash, the 2-day one, which was really just a 1-day one. Took the Goblins, which was fun. I've been drilling the Relic Goblin deck, which everyone hated.
Yeah.
And then the FAQ came out and said that you can't use Trading Up and Spores of Battle and things like that, so I quickly swapped it to the key deck and actually was pretty pleased with my performance, winning 3 out of 5. I'll take that all day long. 34 for something
like that.
So, well, I'll take that. I should have took Curse Breakers, but as I'd announced on Warhammer TV, which myself and yourself went on, Dan, commentating on John Reese from Can You Roll a Crit, played against Backs, and we got invited on there, didn't we? To
commentate,
commentate, so that was quite fun.
Yeah, it was
good fun,
to watch. Yeah, definitely.
Realise how much we receded in hell on. I really have.
Yeah.
Watching myself.
It's great if you want to fall asleep at night.
So yeah, that was a good experience, wasn't it? To sit on there. Got a sneaky preview of the Power Unbound cards as well.
Yeah, so that was good.
I think thanks to Nick Bateman for inviting the group on, really.
Absolutely.
Big shout out to Nick for that.
Big shout out, and all the guys that were there at Warhammer TV. That was cool. Wade came and met us, didn't he?
Yeah.
Set us in and that. And then we sat down with Nick and we got to berate him a little bit about some of our matches that we've played against him. So, but
remind him of those nightmares of playing Mr. Gun and Lethal Strike.
Joe was listening actually, wasn't he?
He was.
Watching.
He was joining in.
I think he made a comment, didn't he?
Yeah. And I suppose next for me is Guardians. Moving on to them, I'm still waiting for 2 contrast paints to be delivered so that I can follow Mango Miniatures painting guide from Warhammer TV, Warhammer Community. So I'm going to follow that because it seems pretty cool.
Surely you should have painted up your own goblins by now, though.
I have. I've got some ones that are yellow for you though. If you want them back.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
still on sprue as well.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah.
And last then, but not least.
Yeah, for me it was just the 2-day Grand Clash that we went to.
2 days.
2 days for me, yeah. I made it through to the second day. Took Mollog and a tone deck. And as me and you were driving down in the car, I told you not really that hopeful about it. I just mashed the deck together.
I think you wanted to win like one game.
I think so. Yeah.
How many practice games did you win against me?
None.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't until the Thursday night that the other half had said, you're not moping around on Saturday doing nothing. You're going out, and bought me the ticket. So I really wasn't expecting to go. And then, I think won 3, lost 2, and when they were calling, it's just snuck in at 15th. I think I was 15th to 16th into the top 16, which gets back the second day. But I noticed we were stood there watching the scores getting shouted out. I'm thinking, crap, I've done really bad here. How bad have I done? And then they shout me out in the top 16. So I was really tough with that.
I think we were all 3-2, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then we were. I was in the top 64. You were top 32. So being 3-2 and being in the top 64, I wasn't expecting you being 3-2 to be in the top 16. But there is such a
I think I managed
bracket out.
22nd. I dropped around against one of the curse breakers. I think that one.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. Was the number of rounds dropped per game there.
Yeah.
So, but how many players were there overall?
I want to say 90 or 80.
I think it was
84.
I think it was 80 something. Yeah.
Still a fair. It's a good
Slightly
number
down.
there, isn't it?
Well,
A good number.
What they did announce, if that put anybody off from going, because they didn't have anything on the second day, so people wouldn't have travelled up, and then if they didn't go through, nothing to do on the second day. Next time they're going to be doing something for the second day.
I think the plan.
Tournament.
Don't quote me, but I think the plan is that they're going to do like this new skirmish Grand Clash. So they'll do the full 2-day Grand Clash for the people that get through on the second day. Then the other people that don't make it into the top 16 will come back and they'll do this smaller scale skirmish clash or whatever it is they're going to be calling it.
That opens up to a lot of people that have to travel for it. At least they're going to get a full weekend out of it.
Yeah, I think you need to do something like that though.
I mean, as a tournament as a whole, it was quite a relaxed atmosphere. The second day, with only 16 players, it was a completely different way of playing.
Because it's quite
intimate.
Yeah,
it was an intimate way of playing.
I heard there was a little bit of beard stroking going on.
There might have been a bit of flirting with me and John from Can You Roll a Crit? What can I say? What stays in Bugman's? What happens in Bugman stays in Bugman's, I should say.
Handsome Amazonian sunset beard.
Beautiful man, I think, with exact words, and I'm blushing again already. But no, it was a great 2-day event. It was a great event. Best Coast pairings used to score it up. I think that's changed it for me. It's so much easier.
Such a good choice.
Yeah, so much easier to score
How
the
quick
event.
you can get through the rounds now instead of everyone trying to see that screen and waiting for the number.
Just a question: is that something we're going to be looking for? Hopefully. Think for
it's October.
September.
October it is.
That's something we can.
I think
That's something we can announce actually. So we've got an event coming up at
Chilcon.
September the 22nd.
That's in Derby.
It's in Derby, yeah.
If anyone's interested, so have a look on Facebook for Chilcon, the One Wonder Worlds tournament. I know currently the plan is to cap it at 32 players.
It is, yeah.
Because we're going to do 4 rounds, so you get down to the 2 undefeateds, and then do a final, and we can do that in the time frame that we've got.
Yeah.
There is potential to open up to a bigger audience.
Potentially
However,
there's enough space to see 80. We could go up to 80. We've capped it at 32. If more people do want to come.
I think the reason we capped it at 32 was to play down to a winner, and that had been one of the biggest comments of the Grand Clashes was there was 4 people undefeated, and we kind of didn't want that. So I suppose let us know in the comments which one you prefer, actually, if you'd be interested in going.
Yeah. And if not, you can always come down and stroke Ash's beard.
You can stroke my I won't be playing. I'll be there as a TO. I think me and Smeds are going to be the TO in, and the other guys probably going to enter the tournament or just be on hand to help out. Dan's probably going to sit and eat chicken all day and make bases because there'll be lots of scenery companies there. And
and I'll keep the beer tent going. You know?
There is beer. Yeah,
it's at school, Josh.
Yeah, I mean,
you didn't tell me that.
I mean, the Chilcon show itself. It's not a Games Workshop event. It's got historical models. There'll be people selling Games Workshop bases, scenery. There's all sorts of stuff there. So it's well worth getting down to.
It's been growing.
It's been growing. Yeah, they do one in Sheffield, one in Derby.
We've been to one before.
Yeah, we did Derby last year. We put a big AOS game on. So yeah, I hope people want to come down to that and play some Underworlds with us.
Cool. So So that's a 2-minute intro in about 15 minutes. So should we get started on the actual content of this podcast, which is how do we build decks? So, what are you all chuckling at?
Dan just passed me a note like a schoolboy saying,
You're not allowed
to school. Anyway.
Back in. So, how do we build decks?
Right.
I think there's a few different ways, and everyone around the table does it a little bit differently. So I understand, Mr. Smedley, you use Underworld's DB as a bounce board for yours to start with. I use physical cards, and apparently Ash uses three third end phase cards and uses some kind of chalk, ash, goat's blood, and the pentagram kind of method. So I've got no idea what's going on there.
You know what? I've just gone through my Moloch deck. I've got it in front of me, and I'm looking at the cards, and there's 3 of them which are useful. The rest are just an absolute sack of rubbish. I mean, I don't know why I've got half a million. I still make top 16. That just shows my skill as a player.
Again, I'm going to refer you back to the comment earlier on about the beard. I think what you did is you mesmerised the opponents and then just lied on that scorecard.
Yeah. Some say skill, some say card counting, you know.
And some just say drinking lots of mango cider just gets you through the day. But who wants to kick off then on how they start? I think we've all got our own method.
I think everyone just wants to listen to probably Smeds and Dan's, as they're all always, we come top 3 and 4 in the classes.
Yeah, so go on then. Yeah, Dan.
Mine's so I use Underworld's DB, to be fair. It's great. You can add the cards really quickly, and I tend to go through it. I choose my faction, and then I scroll through the objectives and add everyone that I think I can easily score, and that goes through everything. Then same with the gambits and the upgrades. What's useful. And just filter through, and I generally end up with somewhere in the region of 30 objectives, about 40 gambits and 40 upgrades, and then I kind of sit there and look at it and decide what kind of theme I'm going for, what cards fit well together, and then just cut and just sit there clicking minus, getting rid of them until I end up with something that's quite synergised together and works quite well. And then I'll go to the GW deck builder then to build it on there and print off a nice PDF. So a really nice app on that.
Yeah, well, I suppose I'm pretty much opposite to you. If I actually start a theme first of what I like to do and I'll just cycle through the objectives then and then basically pick which ones I think will actually match what I'm going for. Normally I just try and go for something that as well a lot of people always go for a lot of the same cards and decks. I always might try and put something in there that might catch people out or something. They're not expecting it, but it's
like Claim the City.
Yeah. Well, that didn't work. But then basically just work through, look at my objectives. But I also, when I'm doing my equipment and ploys, it's trying to get more of a how would this handle an aggressive deck, how would this handle a defensive deck, how would it handle like someone who's playing a bit in between, and then I try and get a nice balance across the board. But that's probably why my decks never work out.
So my deck building, in some ways similar to Mr. Smedley's Underworld's DB, I just lay the cards out and start. So I'll consider what I want the deck to do to start with and how I want it to play. So will it be aggressive? Will it be defensive? Is there something particular I want the deck to be around? So I took the Fast Riders to the last Grand Clash in February time, was it? January, February? And with that, Josh is chucking away here. I really wanted the Fast Riders to run around. The Star Falcon doing 4 damage at range. So I built up a few cards around that, some extra dice cards, and then went over to the objective deck and then started to work down the objectives that I thought would be easy to score, and then use my power cards, my gambit cards there to help me achieve what was going to help me achieve those objectives, and then the upgrades to try and help me either survive or again help me achieve those.
I thought you just copied my deck.
Copied your deck.
Copied and pasted and changed the card and said it was your own.
What I did is for the Curse Breakers, I took your deck and made it better.
It did work well. Ash?
The fact is it worked better.
So my decks sometimes do look a bit random. No, I usually start by looking at the fighter cards, pick the warband, look at the fighter cards, look what the guys do. So someone like Moloch gets to move twice, so then based on that, stick 2 objectives in there for moving. You know, working out the objectives off what they can do. He does a lot of damage. He has to take damage to inspire, so you calculate the risk. So it's basing it on what the fighters can do. Same with the Curse Breakers. They cast a lot of spells, stick a lot of spell objectives in there. Then that sort of filters through with the ploys and the gambits, what you can do to get those objectives off. So Curse Breakers, I'd be sticking in lots of ploys, gambits, the spell cards, getting things off like that. Things that the upgrades that will help you re-roll the dice for those to score the objectives. I think that's the key, isn't it? Remembering everything's got to be a circle of what you can do. It's got to help each other. It's got to go around. Have that idea in that plan in your head. That's the key thing. Pick a plan and go with it. Don't pick 3 end phase cards. I have gone through my deck and again 3 end phase cards. The 3 end phase cards I've got denial. Why I've got denial against Moloch, I have no idea. I've got Acolyte of the Cat Frames, which is my favourite one at the minute, and then Superior Tactician. Why I've got denial in there is absolute beyond me. I don't know.
I suppose nobody expects denial anymore.
No, I suppose they don't. I don't know what I put it in there for. Maybe I was just trying to bulk the deck. I had an objective in mind with the Moloch deck, and that was to stick all the tomes on him and just send him about smashing stuff, which kind of works. So I don't know what denial was for really, but usually fighter cards. Look what the fighters can do and what you can score off the back of what they can do. So your ones with cleave on them, you're going to be sticking your what armor. Get the people with knockback. So that's how I go about constructing it.
So you're doing it to the style of play, aren't you?
Yeah, you're going to style of play. Goblins, you'd probably go for more of an objective-based deck. You'd have your supremacies in there, and then things to get you onto the objective. So a lot of push cards as well.
When we're going for gambits and upgrades, what's your sweet number? I usually aim for 20 cards myself, 10 and 10.
Yeah.
I've never gone over 12 and 12.
I've never gone over 11 and 11.
I think, I think 24 has been about mine. But this is the good one.
We're ready.
I took 26 with my skeletons.
To be fair, you can though.
I have managed to filter them right down now to I think I've got 10 and 11 is my split at the minute. Doesn't feel too many, to be honest. It feels about right. Sometimes you have to make that brutal sacrifice though, of cutting cards down. You think that card is a great card, but do I score objectives with it? And that is the key for me, is what can I do with this card? It's a push card. Or do my objectives need me to be pushed? No, probably bin it.
One of the only things to always remember when it comes down to as well though is with decks is cards and how they come out though. You know, I mean, the amount of times that how many people have played have always drawn either 5 equipment cards and pulled another like 3 equipment in that. And
it's gutting, that is. I mean, when you're drawing through with those 3 end phase cards though, Ash. I mean, you said just before we started that you were looking at the number of times you drew Acolyte of the Cat Frames first turn.
Acolyte of the Cat Frames. My decks for both the Stormcast and for Moloch centred around Acolyte of the Cat Frame, which for people that don't know, it's you collect the tomes, and for every tome you've got on your model at the end, you score a glory for it, which when you've got, I think, 8 tomes potentially, so your Moloch can only take 7 of them, so one of them is a wizard-only spell, wizard-only card. I was drawing it a lot in my first hand, and then you've got to sit on it, and sometimes you need to cycle through those cards quite quick, and I needed an extra plan. And I think that's perhaps where denial snuck in there, forgetting Superior Tactician being that 3rd end phase one. But I did draw it, I'm sure it was against John Rees. I drew all 3 in my first hand, and then I had to slowly, painstakingly discard cards, and they came out in the most horrible order you could possibly imagine. So I
think that's why I never run more than 1.
Yeah, you shouldn't run more than 1. Possibly 2 if you are trying to run acolytes.
I think it's the acolyte. I think that's the one that you can run 2 with. I probably won't go 3, but
no, I shouldn't have gone 3. I've gone through my objectives now, and I'm looking at them thinking, I've got one called Goblin in there. He's got to be surrounded by 3 or more fighters. Why? Mark can smash people away, or they stay away from him.
I think the worst thing is, Smed, his deck did better than ours.
It did. Is it asleep? Is it asleep? That was a great card,
actually. I put it down to opponents at the end of the day.
The number of score immediately of the objectives. What do
we just switch back? Sorry, just a 3rd end phase. I'm only running 1, and I'm running Superior Tactician. I've been running it for quite some time.
Same.
It's the only one I've been running.
Yeah.
The other ones I would consider would be Denial. It's 3 glory at the end. It's worth waiting for. If it's a 3rd end phase card, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I wouldn't take any that are less than 3 glory on there. The other one would be Pure Carnage. It's only worth considering if you're going to be playing a warband of 7 or more.
If you've got plenty of fighters. Yeah.
And it's still going to be a bit of a worry because it's 9 fighters, isn't it? Pure Carnage
7.
Is it 7 fighters? I thought it was 9.
Yeah,
So
7, I believe.
7 fighters is a lot to take out of action if your opponent's playing a 3 model Stormcast
Yeah.
warband.
Really
You're
struggle.
disadvantaged, aren't you?
You've really got to struggle, and towards the end, to score it, you might have to be killing your own guys, running through. Well, you're not going to. If it's your Thorns of the Bright Queen, you're not going to be running through lethal hexes to do it.
I think a lot of the power comes into the game as well, though. Now, when talking about decks, is the card phase of just how powerful ploys used to be, like pretty good and sets you up and everything else all good. But I think Magic phase now, just how powerful that can be, especially in the hands of curse breakers and them. Even like when we went on the Grand Clash, I had someone who had just pure relied on his wizards, just one damage, this.
Yeah.
I've just done all of this to you, and you haven't been able to
I
stop.
think a lot of older cards are starting to come back into fruition. People are looking at some of the older cards now going, that has a purpose. I mean, I've got Second Wind in here, which is great for Mollog, not for attacking, but for standing on a objective token.
Yeah.
Text 1, scores glory, does another one, scores a second glory. Second wind him, score 3 glory, standing an objective. It's
What's that one? Is it
Tome of Glories.
Tome of Glories?
you activate him as if he's moved rather than charged. So
You're activating Tome of Glories, is that?
yeah, 3 times with it. So these old cards, they pop back out now, don't they? And you think they're actually it's worth having a look at. So I mean, I've got Shardgale in there as well. Not played that many donkeys, and it just seemed to work.
So I love it. It's a beautiful card, Shardgale.
Yeah.
We digress slightly. Third end phase cards then. How many are we going to have?
One.
Cool.
2, 3, 4, just in case.
So the next one, next on the list then, score immediately.
Yeah.
I think you look at the deck. You have 3 end phases to score in. So if you don't have any score immediately, you can only score 9.
Yeah.
9 cards. So you should be taking score immediately.
Yeah,
I'd
try and go for about 6 with the Profiteers. Probably a few more because it depends on your warband as well.
Yeah, I think Profiteers, the deck that I made for them was 8, I think.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
about
maybe
right.
even go more because you want to score them and get inspired. And get up.
The only counteract to that when you're building them up full of score instants is it's normally quite a low scoring deck.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 3 score immediate lists, so 3 or 4 for me would be.
So you've got the same number of score immediately as third end phase cards.
Yeah, no. I'm just seeing how woeful my deck is, but hey,
it worked.
Top 16.
It worked.
So my current deck, the current Ilthar's Guardians is running 6 6 score immediately cards.
I think I always try and go for 5 or 6 in a deck.
Yeah.
I think that's enough to put other cards in there like opening gambit and things which are scoring off them and adding to
Do we
it
think there should be a cap on score immediate list?
No, going back to Josh's point on the fact that if you build them all score immediately, you're low scoring. It does get the snowball effect going, you get going quicker.
Yeah, some warbands
One
need
of
to
the-
snowball, don't
yeah.
they? They need them.
It's just one of the issues that you'll have with the Profiteers is the amount of times I can score comfortably about 19 glory with them on average if everything goes alright with dice rolls, blah blah blah. But if people are like still scoring at 20, 22 easy just for getting, I don't know, just them extra two scoring or a 3 scoring one, it can put a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
Plus you've got 5 too easy to kill, so you're giving away some glory as well.
Yeah.
What's our choice then of end phase cards? What do you think is quite prolific at the moment?
Of end phase?
Standard end phase cards, so not particularly the third end phase. So you've mentioned opening gambit earlier on, which synergises well with the score immediately. You might be loading about half your deck with.
Things like opening gambit, solid gains, victory after victory, like the win more kind of cards that come with the score immediately as well. Although solid gains also obviously triggering off the other cards, and victory after victory. To be fair, 1 or 2 score immediately, score something else, and then chalk that on
combination strikes a very good one. Yeah.
I mean, solid gains as well. You don't actually have to score an objective to achieve that. You could just
kill
stuff. You could kill one fighter and then have Tome of Offerings.
It's a useful
and
one.
Glory
That's
Seeker.
it. The Profiteers do have a good one of 5. They're getting a few cards as well now, like 5 unspent glory, which can be pretty good as well.
Yeah, I'm actually not a fan of those ones, just because you're not upgrading. I get if you score them in that end phase, great. You know, if you've got 3 and then you score victory after victory and then it triggers for having 5 unspent, but don't know. I always want to be spending my glory. That's why I've gone away from them. I think maybe the one where you have 9 if you've got a key deck or something.
Hoarding, yeah.
Maybe, but even then, I'd probably rather have superior tactician.
Yeah.
What? I know during season 1, Master of War was in near enough everybody's decks, which was you score this if you've scored an objective card, you've played a ploy card, and you've played an upgrade card in the round. Do people still think this is good?
Yeah, I had that pulled 2 or 3 opponents on me at the Grand Clash. It was there. It was still.
I just think there's better.
Yes, I think there is better.
Opening Gambit, if you're going to have a choice between the two, Opening Gambit just requires you to score an objective.
Yeah.
It does require you to score that objective in the score immediately objective, isn't it? But Opening Gambit, while Master of War is score in any time, so you could score one at the end of the round still.
But then if you're the first phase, you've then got to have killed something to get a glory. Unless you've got Spores of Battle or something.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, restricted cards is the next topic.
Well, ready for action is a must, isn't it?
Yeah, so ready for action obviously goes in, and that's not just because that's what our podcast is called, but it's just.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still calls out there for it to be banned, isn't there? But it's
I
not.
thought they were calling for you to be banned.
They should be. They're being so beautiful.
Tell someone's been talking to his mum again.
Yeah.
So, aside from ready for action, what's your favourite restricted card?
Oh, mine's got to be. It's always been my favourite. That I think I showed you when we were first gaming, and that was Helpful Whispers.
Helpful Whisper. You don't run it.
I don't know, because I haven't needed to in a while with the war bands, but with my Malog one, I will go back to running it.
No, Spirit Bond. That's the new one.
Yeah.
Whack Spirit Bond on and put it on Stalag
Well,
Spring in the
that'll
back
probably get
corner or
restricted
something,
next anyway.
and
Which
do
one?
that
I think
instead.
at the minute.
Which one's Spirit Bomb? Sorry.
Spirit Bond's where you apply it to a fighter,
Yeah.
and then you name another fighter, and they always count as assisting them while they're still
Ah,
alive.
Yeah.
That's that one. It's not restricted though, is it?
No,
No.
Oh,
just say
okay.
they
Sorry,
run
I was
it.
just.
It was my favourite. It still is one of my favourites.
Spirit Bond is a great card, but it's only good if you. I think it's better if you've got a large number of fighters, where you can rely on not having to deploy a supporting fighter into battle.
Not putting forward. But then you could put Spirit Bond on the person, name another person, and then drop Crown of Avarice on that other person.
Yeah.
And then, well, if you lose your assist, you get a glory. That's all fine.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's such a good card, Crown.
I think my favourite restricted card is probably another one that probably should be. Well, it shouldn't be banned actually, but Escalation.
Yeah.
You're both scoring it, going through.
You don't actually have to do anything yourself. You can be quite soundly losing, and
I've had those games where I've been losing miserably, and then just whack 2 glory on because of that.
There's so many good restricted cards for objectives. It does limit what you can actually put into your hand then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking. I've got 2 in there. I've got Ready for Action and Tome of Offerings of the only 2 in my deck. Restricted, so it does limit you because there's so many good ones you've got.
Except for your objectives.
Yeah, except for the objective. The objectives,
you've already taken all the third end phase ones already. So.
Well,
I think the Trap has actually made a bit of a comeback for me. Actually.
Yeah, I
Playing
noticed that,
Profiteers. Yeah.
I'm going to be moving on to Profiteers next, and I was thinking, you know what, taking a couple of those like
Pit
Trap, and then chucking
Trajan
in
Shadows.
all the chip damage, but also putting in there from season 1, Shattering Terrain as well, just for a cheeky one. I always used to when I played pure aggro. I loved my turn. Great fun. But at the moment, with the Guardians, I quite like both Escalation and Alone in the Darkness. With the Guardians, they play very differently to everything else, and it's nice to score something from not really achieving very much yourself.
Yeah, I always find Alone in the Darkness can sometimes be difficult in the wrong matchup. Playing Goblins. This is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Unless you get it near the end and you've managed to murder all of them, it just can be tough to set up. So how do we put the restricted cards in? Do we favour objectives, gambits, upgrades?
Again, it depends for me how I'm intending to play the deck, and how that warband kind of synergizes with the build. But I will be throwing mine mainly in the objectives.
I've just noticed yours are 3-2 split, 3 objectives, and then 2 ploys and gambits.
I've got one
gambit and an upgrade.
We're gambit and upgrade. So it's let's be honest. We're here to score glory. The objectives are in that pot because they are easier, or seen as being easier to score glory off. I'm putting more weight in there because it's making it easier to score that higher amount of glory.
Yeah.
You're doing less for the work. If you're putting it more in the upgrades or you're putting it more in the ploys, it might give you benefits elsewhere, but is that going to be helping you achieve more glory?
Yeah, I think I agree. I generally run 3 or 4 in objectives. Obviously take the ready for action because it goes in there, and then the same as I've seen in your deck actually, Dan, just then, sudden growth or deathly fortitude sometimes will come in for an objective if I've got a particular plan in mind for a certain fighter and I want to keep them alive, that stick an extra couple of wounds on them. that would be Snurk and the goblins, yeah. And do that. So, but generally 3 or 4 restricted cards into objectives. As you say, with score glory, that's how you win games. So you want to make sure that you've got they're the easier ones and the more powerful ones, so you want to sink it into there, I think.
So I think, like I said, it all just comes down to what theme you're going for. If you're going offensive, have a look at your more killy ones that'll help you achieve your targets. But defensive, things like fired up and stuff like that's always a great one, especially if you inspire easy.
Yeah, definitely. Fired up can be a great one.
Oh yeah.
That generally sits in most of my decks, to be fair.
Yeah. It won't sit in your Guardians deck.
No, it doesn't sit in the Guardians deck actually. It sits in all my decks except for the new one that I'm creating.
Do you want to borrow mine?
No. Well, I'll change one card and then do better.
That's doubtful.
Challenge on. So that's kind of almost deck building before we move on to how we build.
One last thing I say is I think it's really important, especially before you go to a Grand Clash, but is learn your deck.
Yeah.
Don't just make a deck excellent, play a couple of games. I like to draw through my objectives and then think, I've got 3 cards left. What are those 3 cards?
And this is why you take half hour to make a move.
Yeah, don't save it for a tournament. You don't think, I'll go to a tournament and hone my deck while I'm there before a Grand Clash. I mean, we sit here most Tuesdays, we play against each other in
3 or 4 games.
But we'll take a big deck to start. I know we'll take like 26 card decks, and we start whittling them down as we're playing. We just next game we've all done it, and we take cards out when we think that's a bit.
I'll still take 20. I'll just swap.
And at the end of it, you end up with 3 third end phase cards.
End phase card. I'll still finish the top 16.
I think you've got a point there on knowing your deck. And one of the great things on Underworld's DB, I'll go back to that, they've got the card draw. So if you're not sure if you've got too many cards, let's say like Master of War, Victory After Victory, Opening Gambit, Solid Gains and things like that.
So score more
literally click the card draw and it will draw 3 cards for you.
Yeah.
And then just keep redrawing it, and you can see if you keep getting cards that you can't score in that first phase, you can almost repeat that as a bit of a test to see actually have you just got too many, score more and go through cards. Have you got easy ones in the first round that you can score most of the time? You're not always going to get
I think it's always having a good mix of opponents though against, just because it doesn't say one scores well against Curse Breakers doesn't mean it scores well against Malog or something like that. It's also looking at that balance of your deck, because at a tournament you don't know who you're going to really get.
You've got to think about that. Who's it work for? But what I do is I draw. It's just like Underworld's DB is, but I just physically draw my cards and shuffle them, draw. But I always try and think, what am I going to score first round? And just pull the cards out. How do the ploys and the upgrades and the hand help me achieve the objectives that I've got? What can I do? And then consider, how's it going to help me when I'm playing Goblins? How's it going to help me when I'm playing Moloch? And try and get yourself a nice little balance between the two, because not everything you're going to have in your hand will be great for Goblins or Moloch. It'll be a little bit in between.
Yeah, so I used to put a lot of value in Transfixing Stare, but now there's a lot of Profiteers popped up, and the Guardian's doing it from 2 away, so you're already in the Transfixing Stare range if you like to be attacked back, so that kind of got dropped, but I put a lot of value in it first when I was playing against Magor and people like that. Yeah. It was really beneficial in that, walking up to one of them, killing one of them, and then Transfixing Stare and Riptooth in place. And it was like, this card's amazing. But then you come up against Thunderic and like, Transfixing Stare, he's still just going to shoot me. Great.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So it drops in value a bit. So yeah, you've got to make sure it's balanced. Not every card's going to be good against every warband, except ready for action.
Yeah. Well, I was saying that I did actually take Transfix and Stare in the last deck, and I don't think it's in this one now. When I said earlier on, learn your deck. No, I ditched that. But I did have it in.
Deck very well, haven't you?
No. I've been off. No, in the Cursebreaker deck that I took to the Expo Grand Clash, I had it in there, and I was running it, and it was mainly for ticking one onto Morlog, Transfix and Stare, give him a little shove out of the way. See you later, mate. But I've found a lot of use for that versus Magor's Fiends. It's the Season 1 Warband equivalent of Morlog. Very aggro, and they've just not got that extra range that Morlog has.
I found some use of it against Morlog actually at Vault 14 when I managed to win that game by hitting him around a blocked hex and then transfixing and staring him around the other side of it. So then he's not in the line of sight. That worked quite well, actually. But that's kind of a very niche sort of situation to go into.
And then it just drops my turn.
So, should we sort of summarise that and then summarise the decks and then just talk about how we build each warband, what our preferences are?
Yeah.
We can go through. So, third end phase cards, we generally stick with one.
One.
Unless you've got Acolyte of the Cataphragms, I do think is one where you can take two,
Unless
not
you
three.
just discount your cards and put three.
I mean, the other one you could consider, which works well together, was what they used to take was Contained and Denial.
I say Contain, Denial and
Oh,
Conquest. That was my first Steel Horse deck that I managed to win a thing there. Yeah. So, one third end phase card. Score immediately is, we seem to all be around the sort of 5 or 6 kind of range. Yours deck was a bit different for the Grand Clash. In there, 5 or 6, but then it's dependent on what warband you are as well. Profiteers, you push them up. Jay Clare did pretty well actually with 8, I believe, at the Grand Clash.
Yes.
It was 8. Yeah, it was 8.
Yeah.
And it works. Yeah. Restricted cards, we're all generally leaning towards objectives, although you can see a lot of value in some of the others in the right deck.
I think what we're saying, we max out on them across either objectives or boys and upgrades. We max out, don't we?
Yeah, you always take you always take your 5.
And then we mentioned quite a few, make sure your deck's got a lot of synergy.
Yeah.
Your gambits and your upgrades, they want to be helping you achieve your objectives.
Yeah.
It should just be a nice full circle. I believe you described
I
it as a circle, Ash.
And
I know what I mean.
A lovely way of saying it.
And to be honest, then at the end of that, just keep trying it. Just keep practicing with your deck. See what, because just because some people recommend that card doesn't mean it falls well into your strategy of how you play them.
One thing I probably don't think we have discussed will be that, as you say, we play on a Tuesday night and play one round against each opponent or play best of 3 or whatever. And we cram through as many games as possible, but I like to chuck my deck on the table and try and explain it to my opponents and say, this is how I intended this to work, and then
we
get some advice.
That's why we keep beating you, because you just show us your cards straight away.
We'll keep it as close
We help each other, don't we?
Yeah.
Kev had a few problems with his Magor's deck, and we tweaked it for him, and then he started smashing a few of us around with it.
I think it's always good if someone's already built a deck, take that, see what the base is. But like I said, it comes down to player play style though as well.
I know I've put cards in, and then when I've played it, you guys are like, what's that? And it's like, I'm like, yeah, actually that's rubbish. And then it comes out sort of thing. I had an idea in mind, it just didn't work.
And similar then as well, when we played pre-Grand Clash season, and you had me, you said Branching Fate, that wasn't in my deck at the time, and you popped that on the table and said, why is that not in this deck?
Especially empowered.
Yeah, so especially empowered Cursebreaker, so it was horrible. But really, for any warband that's rolling with a lot of 3 dice attacks, it's a great card.
Yeah.
I think the warband for the person matters as well. We all have a favourite warband, but then the hot tiers to different warbands. As much as we don't want to admit it, Eyes of the Nine are going to be a bottom tier warband, and as much as a new player might like Zeech, you're going to struggle with it, and that gets downhearted people. So sometimes you have to pick to learn the game and learn how the cards work and interact with each other. Sometimes you have to forfeit and go with an easier warband, something like Magor's, where he is a point and click, isn't he? That's why I always say people start. Can you charge? Yeah, then charge. That's what Magor does.
You can learn the game quite well.
And you can learn it, and then you can learn the cards. Jumping straight in with the goblins, that's going to be mind blowing for people. Because you've got 9 models. and there's a lot going on them character cards. Who can interact with what scoring mechanism, and if you charge, can the squigs charge? No, they can't. They can't move up. It's little bits and pieces.
There's a lot of interactions. Every one of my games went to right until the end.
Yeah, you've got a lot to
played
do.
John Greenwood, we only got 2 rounds, and I think of the last game and stuff. We're both playing goblins. That's probably explains that. But yeah, it's a lot to think about.
To be
and
honest,
it slows you down as well, not just in rules and things, but thinking.
Yeah.
To be honest, when it comes to Eyes of Nine, though, I lost to them in the.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
you know what I
that.
mean?
In the right hands, they can be.
Oh yeah,
great.
they're devastating, especially if you manage to roll crits on everything. It was I couldn't believe both of us were just laughing about it. I think his turn 2, he had everyone inspired. It was ridiculous. Like every time, it was just funny. In the end, I actually think I chucked my dice tray because he kept rolling crits in it, and I couldn't.
You're not allowed it.
Yeah, you're not allowed it anymore.
Cool. So after we built the deck, we discussed we play on Tuesday nights quite against each other.
Yeah.
We're quite varied in the warbands that we play as well, which probably helps us. But then we tweak, don't we?
Yeah.
We don't just sit on it and do.
It's rare we all play the same warband. I know we all went to a Grand Clash with well, 3 of us went with Cursebex, but we all played them completely different. We had Smed playing them quite middle ground.
Quite middle flat.
John Jones played really aggressive, and then I played really defensive with tomes on them. So we all play them differently. We all tweak them, and the aggressive one won out there.
Yeah, I mean that was given, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But we all play different. We have got different styles, and it's about what you enjoy in the game, isn't it? So if you're gonna play the game like I did, and I just wanted something simple where I could just cast a spell and then run across the board and punch one in the face, then that you should play to that. There's no point in playing something that you're not going to enjoy. So it's worth considering that as well during the deck building. What you were going to get from that game.
Yeah, I might go back to Fire Slayers and show these people how it's played.
We should do, because I played in the first game against a guy who came from Spain, I think he said. No, Germany, sorry, it was Germany. And they did not hold up. Unfortunately, some of the Season 1 warbands, they just can't anymore. I think at the time they were really good. But, strong, powerful.
It's just, I think now since you've added the magic phase and a lot more things have range in, now it's tough for them to get in.
I'd really have liked to have seen the set of cards that came out recently with some range attacks for the old warbands, like throwing axes, something that fits with the dwarves, something that just makes them a little bit more competitive. Yeah, it's just a shame dwarves were up there at one point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. GW might even go back and redo the Season 1, just change the card, like
do some new character cards.
Yeah, just new character cards.
Maybe you'll see like the Universals may disappear, but then they'll release a pack with new faction cards or something to update them slightly, maybe.
So, what's next? We're going to look at what we think then for each faction, how we would build a deck would be, or is that what style of play we want to?
It's just so Steel Hearts. If you're going to build a Steel Heart deck, just what kind of style would you play? Just give an insight into what we'd do.
So. Steel Hearts for me, straight up there. I'd go and play with a mid to aggressive play. I'd just run across the board.
See, I'm completely opposite end to that. I would look at them and go ultra defensive. They've got a lot of still good ultra defensive objectives in there.
I'm just thinking there. You've got 2 guys to start with 3 damage straight off the bat.
I think they may struggle, but I'd go aggro, and the reason I wouldn't go defensive is just because Cursebegs do it better.
Well, yeah,
and you come up against them,
which highlights what I said of Season 1 warbands. They just don't.
They just sit back.
Yeah, because with the way I'd play them, still how I played them, they put them aggro, but just piled all their upgrades on defence. I mean, the amount of times I had when I first due with them, and you were just so angry because you couldn't kill Ogre, and I think you had like 3 dice re-rolling 2 of them, and it was just like.
Yeah,
I think
frustrating.
Yeah.
So what about Reavers? I think this one should be pretty given.
Well, defensive.
Joe's not here today. You know,
Joe's still playing Reavers.
He's still playing Reavers, and
still playing Reavers. He switched to Reavers during Season 2.
Yeah, and he's having he has quite a bit of success with them. I think the way that he plays him is he tanks one guy up, Sayak normally, and with the mission of I'm going to take out the prize fighter on the opposition team. From what I've watched Joe do, and then everything's geared up with extra dice rolls, extra this, that, and the other, and just one shot.
That's it. Joe was playing. I played a quick couple of games with him at the weekend, and when Sayek's rolling something like 6 dice, 7 dice, you're thinking, because no matter if you've got warding stance on Galangan, he's not going to survive a 7 dice attack.
I don't know, because every time me and Joe play, he always ends up missing everything when he's coming in. We had a game, I think, at the Outpost. It was somewhere
You
anyway.
played a Boards and Swords recently.
Yeah, but no, it was another one where I was playing Profiteers as them. We were both in the middle. Everyone was lined up with a character on each other. So we looked over, like, bloody hell, what's happened there? It was like, yeah, none of us have hit each other yet. We're already on the second round.
So aggro reavers.
Aggro.
Yeah.
I mean, you could surprise some people though if you wanted to play a whole objective deck. I don't think
To
they
be
do
honest,
that bad.
some people did play objectives at one point with them, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were good for that, but now with the amount of range and everything else that comes in, it's too easy to knock them off.
So that leads us nicely on to Undead. Talking about
They're
objectives.
a control and objective deck, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they have really taken a hit now that, well, I say now, but the time got by when Extreme Flank went. They were one of the warbands that really needed that Extreme Flank to stay relevant.
Yeah.
I do like the thought of Crown of Avarice on the champion. Charge me and kill him. Bring him back. Charge him again.
Yeah.
Kill him. Bring him back. So he gets his cleave on there. He's a nice... Some combos.
Yeah, because I think when I did build a deck, I had them actually as offensive, but I had loads of cards in like that Bone Shatters last final swing or something.
You had a lot of chip damage when you
so
died.
It was like,
didn't you?
kill me, then it's like, I'm back again now, I'm going to come at you.
Yeah, I think I'd build it, maybe even actually go a little bit aggro, but obviously with supremacy and things like that in there to move on to any, but then with keys as the
I
finish.
think they favour
Yeah, it has to be keys.
Works
Yeah,
well,
forwards. Yeah.
So orcs. We're going through these in order, by the way.
I feel sorry for old Gerzbag, whatever his name was. Gerzag?
Basically, it's like my logs just does it better now.
Magor did it better. Gerzag had like 3 months in the sun, and then Magor comes along and just goes, I do it better, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen Gerzag manage to pull out and I think kill about like 3 of Magor's people.
That was a good game, wasn't it? That one.
No, it was crap.
The deck that I used to run with, which was pre-banned and restricted, with the orcs, was all about having extra attacks.
I think that was their strength though, wasn't it? They had so many in the deck already.
Yeah.
For me, how they should be played now is painted up really beautifully, like the guy that won Best Painted at the Game Expo. Put in the painting cabinet and left there because I don't think they compete. I just don't see how they just.
They're the bottom tier for me.
That was
They're my choice for bottom tier.
That was Will Lavis, wasn't it?
Oh, they were
beautiful. Really
deserve that.
Yeah. I don't see how you can make orcs competitive. I just don't see it.
Will did a good job with them when he was playing them at the Grand Clash. He did do a good job, and I think he finished. I think the top 32.
Yeah, he did very well.
But he had what he was playing was shattering terrain.
Yeah.
To charge forward with Gerzag, inspire Gerzag on the way in, and then make an attack action with him with his reroll to hit, causing 3 damage, and then pushing a fighter back to hit the magic 4. So it was doing well.
Yeah.
He was doing a good job with them.
They've got some tricks left. They're outclassed by.
Yeah.
There's more that do what they do, but better.
Yeah. You look at it, and the fighters you've got in the Magor's Fiends. There's the secondary fighters, so Gartok, Zarkus versus Hackett and Basher. Gartok and Gartok are far better.
Yeah.
It's like even when they versed the Fire Slayer Chosen Axes, though, even if the duel went down, you still had Tef, you still had Vol, and that. You still had a couple of good players. Matt Magram, he actually saved me a few times in that game.
He's one of the ultimate dangle bros.
Go on,
Who's on Fire Slayers?
Go on then.
Mr. Chosen Axe, Mr. Dwarf over there.
See, I've actually crossed them as basically objective, but a mix of offensive in there as well. I've literally tool up for duel, but then use the others to either score a supremacy or something like that. Keep working them, but these days it's hard to get the objectives off though.
There's so many push cards and little things that just stop it.
I went offensive with Fuel when I came. I think it was second at Wayland's Forge. I did a pretty decent field that day, quite as numbers and that, but things like Command and Stride, the Treasure Lust and then Regal Vision, things like that, get him inspired and get him in. And then I soon discovered a week later at Boards and Swords that it was just because I had very good dice that I finished second, because actually then I had very poor dice and it was the complete opposite.
Yeah,
I finished bottom out of...
Bottom was it?
I think I was 17th out of 17, which meant I didn't get the fighter cards because the thing was like 16. That's not a cool one.
Yeah, I think Fajuli still is one of the strongest characters by far, but he just
Two
now
hammers.
it's
Two hammers.
two
Spy
hammers.
mechanism, his low dice rolls. He's just not.
But
Still good.
No,
he's an all eggs in one basket, isn't
Yeah.
he? He can be an all eggs in one basket
'Cause-
kind of guy.
I would say like do maybe what J. Claire did, just tool up Tefk, 3 dice.
So, Fire Slayers. Next one then is Skaven. What do you reckon? So I really like. It's on Jonathan Davis's blog, which I can't remember the name. Was it Hexes and Warbands, or is that a man's?
That's a man's, I think.
A man's.
They work closely together. Though, don't
Yeah,
they?
they
Could
do
quite
work closely
possibly
together.
be.
So from the Paths of Glory podcast, and I think it was Stephen Van might have written it for him, but it was the Skaven deck with Crown of Avarice and Expendable and tooling them up, and that's pretty fun. I actually think that works, and it's quite a good deck. I'll probably do something like that and go actually aggro with him again. Now with Spirit Bomb back for Scritch, so he's got his Helpful Whispers back in a sort of roundabout way.
He can get 4 dodge, tooled up,
4
right?
dodge, tooled
Yeah.
up. Yeah. The acrobatic.
I can
spectral
actually
armor.
see a lot of them coming into it. Anyone who had like 2 dodge dice now with
So
the
you're saying more
upgrades.
aggro with them?
I think back to the old Scritch killing machine. He's got a bit.
It used
of
to be.
back.
It used to be.
But he
pretty
needed
hefty.
Awakened Weapon, Helpful Whispers, great strength. I mean, he's got access to sort of a lot of them in different ways now. And then if you kill him, you can get a glory for it. Well, you get the glory if he's killed.
Would you consider taking any whole objective cards in there with them? Or would you go pure aggro?
And just 'cause I always used to find it fun, I'd probably go pure aggro. I'm not sure if they probably would work well with the objective cards still. They've got high movement, they can get about. But do you want to spend 3 activations moving on to objectives to score supremacy?
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Maybe on ploys
command
and
it,
stuff,
maybe
push.
the one where you can push 2 people or something.
Quick advance, things like that. Yeah,
But
feasible. I think Skaven have made a bit of a
I think they've made a comeback.
Yeah, they could be good again.
They got hit the hardest by the banned and restricted list.
I had like 22 cards in my 32 card deck with banned and restricted. I was like, oh my god, complete rebuild.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do next? Magors or Force Riders?
Let's go Magors.
To Magor.
Magors, quite an easy one.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I don't know.
I would say.
Yeah.
I think Magors run the secret supremacy the best.
Brian Bakewell weird Boards and Swords, and Brian won it. He'd not played since Nightbolt had come out, and then literally took a few of the restricted cards out of his deck and he won the tournament, won the glass by having things like supremacy in there. It works for him. You know, you don't expect it.
No.
No, you don't expect it.
Especially with Gartok, you could leave Gartok near the front to hold that front objective and he can't be pushed.
Yeah.
Aside from sneaking in supremacy though, are you going to be putting in tactical supremacy 1, 2,
No.
3, 4, hold objective?
I think
They work well as a. I mean, it could be a one-trick pony.
Because you
Okay,
think
if you go into a tournament where they're running best of 1, which is not frequent and it's not the best style of game, but if you go into a tournament where you're running best of 1, someone sees Magor's Fiends across the other side of the board, they're going to be expecting you to be running aggro.
Yeah.
It can be something that could catch people out each time.
I think it could be a bit of a trap though as well, because you're sitting back. You
Probably,
score
yeah.
3 glory for that.
think
All right, now I'm 6 squares
yeah, I
away,
think
6
it's like-
X's away, and can't get to you to score on aggro stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
it could be a bit of a trap.
I think that's just one of the things. It's even if you beat your opponent first round, they'll know about it this time when you're placing the objective. So
It's a bit like having denial as your third and first cards. It's good and it can work. You can pull it off first game, but then if they've got Fame Way or Hidden Pass or anything, they can stop it then second.
Yeah.
So quite aggressive then,
I think
with
so.
maybe
Yeah.
some sneaky.
They're always the ones I say to people, if you're starting out, jump straight into it and go with Moloch, because he is a bit of a point and click. He's the easy, and the cards you get in his deck as well.
Yeah,
They're the most useful for a warband to build a deck out of.
So going on to Force Riders then, the
Oh,
plink damage people.
yeah, the first range one,
First range, yeah.
how we feared them.
Yeah.
especially me when I played dwarves. I was like, oh great.
Oh, we had too many games.
And I had too many wins.
I played them aggressive against everybody but McGaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I build it quite aggressive, but a bit flexy. So you can,
Yeah.
you can.
Would you
sit
build him
there.
to die?
No. No.
What about didn't someone was running tombs on at one point? No, not tombs,
Relic.
That was the
Yeah,
relics that I
yeah.
faced at Warhammer Fest. Yeah, once he got the relics onto Fast Rider, I couldn't kill him.
Yeah.
And it was infuriating. I couldn't stop it. Well, I did win it 2-1, but the game he took, it was like I finished on like minus 20 glory or something, despite winning the match. It was silly, but it was good. But yeah, so quite reasonably aggro, a little bit,
so,
bit flex.
I like to play full aggro if I could.
I think they were, at a time they were quite good defensively as well. A bit
Yeah,
like when
definitely.
Steelhearts were, but
Yeah.
now Cursebreaker's just.
I think
They
along
were-
with
they-
McGaws, they come over to season 2 quite nicely with the range attacks and stuff. They're not curse breakers who do what Fast Riders do, but better. But I think they're still up there.
Still viable.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
they were another warband that took a big hit from the first band and restricted list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I think benefiting more from these new cards you see in season
Paddle
2.
Yeah.
around and some of the CT
Yeah.
ones, yeah. So bringing us next then, so that's the season 1 Shadespire ones rounded up. Bringing us straight into everyone's favourite, the Curse Brokens.
They are broken.
Yeah.
They're not broken.
They are. Easy.
They're not.
I think
I enjoy
They're not.
playing
They're
them.
powerful.
To be honest,
They're not
though,
broken.
saying that though, I always say Profiteers actually have a better chance at killing them.
You got
than
Cleave.
Yeah, I
got
think-
Cleave, and to be honest, they're so good at just even ranging because they like to stay back. It's like doors can either just move up, set up, and just like okay, you still got to come to me anyway. I can still put a lot of shots into one character.
I think that's what I say. My style of play for Curse Breakers is flex, and when I see Profiteers on the opposite side, I'm sitting in those 3 furthest back hexes possible, and I'm drawing Harness the Storm, Magical Supremacy. I'm going to just draw for those cards and just try and make you score no glory. Basically,
Yeah,
even though I'm going to score 7 at the end of the game or
Yeah,
something.
I'll just change.
hopefully
I'll
you
change
score
my
less.
Jack to an objective on that. Yep, cheers, mate.
I think the FAQ on them was nice. The Empower. So I
Yeah.
use that. Like I've got an innate lightning on there. And I'm going to just abuse it now and score it 4 times for whichever magical
Mastery
storm.
or Magical Sword.
Yeah.
No, there's the one
Seven.
with casting 4
There's
spells.
one for 4, yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing is now they've got an automatic hit one as well, haven't they? With
With the hammer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that in 8. Oh, that might make me get a bit more aggro with them. I think I'd still be flex, but put that in and depend on the matchup.
Yeah, all that side, I would run across the board and punch you in the face with them.
Yeah, and still play aggro.
I think they're the best one for being just however you want to play them. You want to sit back and not do an awful lot. They do it. They do it well.
Yeah.
You want to flex it up. Again, they do it really well.
Yeah, they're basically what the Fast Riders used to be. Like Fast Riders could adapt so well, but now Curse Breakers can do it and score glory easy.
I think my leaning there to saying I'm going to run across the board and punch you in the face with the Curse Breakers, a lot of that comes from the time that I practiced with Fast Riders during season 1, and that style of play has just transferred over.
It's what you enjoy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which helps you build a better deck and play it better because you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, it all kind of.
There wasn't a huge
Built
difference
in.
in cards in what you two guys picked either. I think
It's about 3 or 4.
I think you might have 3 or 4 changes, and that was it. And
Yeah.
it just altered the way they played
Completely.
Again, for me, when I looked through your deck, Smad, I just could not understand why you'd not got concealed weapon in there.
Everything was all around Avram.
Yeah.
It's about Stormsight, so he doesn't benefit from it. So that's basically why, because you didn't take Archer's Focus,
I didn't take
which
Archer's
for
Focus.
me is the no-brainer
Yeah,
of
I
everything's an
Archer's
Avram.
Focus.
I want the reroll. So
Yeah, and
it's
the way I
flip side.
the way I looked at that was that Averon is one model there on the board, and that Archer's Focus, while it is can be taken by anybody, you only had
You limit
that
it to
one
him.
ranged attack in your.
He can only get use out of it.
Yeah.
I stuck it on the others to get ready for action off sometimes and stuff. But yeah, otherwise, no.
Otherwise, I've only got one reaction. I mean, I was playing Dark Darts in mine, which was another change that you didn't have in yours, for my second option for Cleave to get Watt armor. But when you look at Concealed Weapon, I could play that on both Amis and Rastus and both get the same benefit out of it, as they're both rolling 3 dice to hit that 1 crit, to get +2 damage. So that's why I really like that. But again, I have stressed I like to run across the board and punch people in the face. I would avoid that versus both McGaw
and Mollog, but I would run into Thunderic.
Yeah. So I think we're saying play them however you want, really.
Play whatever you want.
They are that flexible.
Yeah, very flexible. But always take Harness to Storm.
Yeah, no, we'll give him. It's like cheating. It's beautiful. Nighthaunt then. So in the Nightfall box with the Curse Breakers, we've got the Spooky Ghosts.
Thorns the Briar Queen.
Yeah.
Furman played a brilliant deck against myself. Grew a Grand Clash. He was playing a mix of aggro and whole objectives. Keep them guessing in there. It was a beautifully built deck, and he really knew how that played. You can play them however you want, I think, from the back of that. And you can, with that, and the way Furman played that, you could play that as a mix in the deck itself as well. So he played hold objectives and he played aggressive in the deck, and still.
I think what they benefit from is they've kind of got two leaders in there. You've got the Briar Queen herself, who's quite aggressive. She can be played really aggressive. She's a great fighter.
Yeah.
But then you also got Varklav, who is the puppet master, really. He pushes people around and does all the extra bits and pieces for you. Gets people onto objectives, decent amount of damage. So you've got two people. So if one does die, you've still got that backup plan. There's still something else in there.
He also has the restricted to Varklav only version of Tome of Offerings.
Yeah.
And when he's inspired, doing 3 damage is nasty for that.
Yeah, it's good. I think I'll build them a bit of flex aggro. When I played at the January Grand Clash, I played against 2 like flex ones, and they were no problem just to cut through. And then the aggro one that came at me, I couldn't deal with it, and that was the one that beat me in the final round. It just butchered me, and it just seemed to work really well, and I didn't have an answer for it. And I liked that style of playing with the sudden appearance and popping up, and oh great, I'm dead again. It was just really good, and it seemed fun as well.
It's good. You can usually tell though when that's going to happen when you see the first fighters go down, and if the first fighters are chain rasps and being deployed near the back, you know that the ever hanged Varklav and the Briar Queen are going to be up front.
Well, that's what surprised me in the first game. When I saw a chain rasp at the back, I thought, well, there's still 3 spaces for the other guys. That's fine. Then another one went at the back. What's going on here? Then another one was like, he's putting the Queen at the front. I'm going to win this. I'm going to kill him straight away. No, didn't happen. It's got butchered. So, seems a little bit like you can play them almost how you want as well a bit.
You're very
Objectives
flexible.
and stuff. No, good.
What was next? What came out next?
Goblins, was it?
Goblins and Zinch. So, choose your poison. Goblins.
Oh, I love the
Goblins. I'd definitely go keys.
Goblins and keys.
Yeah.
Goblins got hit with the relic ban.
Yeah.
If not, it would have been Relic, because all the games I had against you, it's just you've got so many bodies you can chuck in your way. Easy glory to score, and you just keep scoring.
Yeah, it was. It's a shame for the Goblins. They're not going to win a Grand Clash. They bleed too much glory.
I would say, in the right hands, the Goblin deck is a mean deck.
They can make it. Yeah, it's a mean deck.
But
there's a few players around who've played them for quite some time.
John Greenwood, great play with them.
John Greenwood, for an example, there. When you've played them for a considerable amount of time and you understand how that deck works, 9 fighters is no longer that much of a problem.
I just think the likes of your Shard Gale, Lethal Ward, and Encroaching Shadow, you're doing a lot of. For 2 wound models, you're doing a lot of damage across the table there. There's a lot to take them out of action quite quick.
Yeah.
Which proves right, actually, John. If you're listening, you still haven't sent me your deck.
This isn't how it works. Someone can't paint your models for you and send the deck to you as well. Do you want them to phone in your moves or your activations as well?
I could do with it.
I think keys down objectives is a good way for them, isn't it? They're good at that. There's enough of them.
There's a lot of passive glory they can get from the standard calculated risk. Getting Snurk, getting him going, getting him forward. I love Shadowed Step and Hidden Paths for him. It was like, right, I'm coming at you. And I can score the new teleport.
Again, that technical warband where if you've got the positioning right, you can get Mad Scurry off in 1 move. One guy makes it, 3 hexes together. If you've got your positioning with Drizgit and his squigs, he can get your Mad Scurries off in that 1 move. So just making sure you position. They're very technical warband.
I did manage that a couple of times, using his action, moving the squigs, then moving him, and then scurrying off it. And I was like, that's in the bag. But then people die. They need to be alive at the end of it, which is annoying.
They do.
So objectives, easy glory keys.
Yeah. Cinch now,
Well,
I would actually.
I want to cycle back.
Cycle back, go on.
Circling back to
I think there's something different to play for goblins, and that is all about Snurk, with those obliterated.
Master of Mayhem.
Master of
They're the
Mayhem,
only two
kills,
real cards.
but you can
drop
take-
the Tome
make-
of Offerings.
You're making kills as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a focus around
if he
him.
works and he goes the way you want him to go, he's great. But when you get them dice balls and he just goes round and round the middle of the board, you just
Yeah.
think, I've not actually moved
be
any
honest,
of my other models yet.
yeah.
And you
'Cause that
forget sometimes
last-
what you're doing, don't you? If you
Yeah, I was going to say minus Smed's last game, you just needed one roll, which was just one hit on one of mine to open yourself up, and you went miles out the
I
way.
think
It
I
was
needed
like,
one
yeah.
hammer, and I think I rolled some. In one of the games I played, it
Two
might have been in
assists.
Clash. Well, one of them
Yeah.
I rolled 4 double supports. I was like, well, I'm going that way. I don't have a choice in that. But yeah, a Snurk's definitely an option.
definitely.
Zinch.
I would
none of us have
actually
played
say
Siege
from
yet,
the
so it's a
Grand
hard one
Clash,
for us.
I've seen 2 decks. I would have said Relic before from our previous Clash because they did it so well. But now, the way that I saw that player do, where he just all of his deck was just spells. Just literally, you send the 2 people up, you dangle bros up front, maybe try and inspire them, whatever. But then in the spell phase, it's just like I said, I couldn't do anything in the card. Everything he had was just there to cycle cards. Speciality drop 3 cards, pick up 2
Improvisation.
more,
Improvisation, Jewel of Wits,
Wits,
things
everything like that. Yeah, just had that, and then in that phase, just smash. All the upgrade cast a spell, blah blah blah.
I think we came across Neil,
Neil
didn't we?
Snowball Hill, who won the Grand Clash this time with Moloch, took him to Boards and Swords, and he played him in a very
Is it Sanctuary, I think?
Sanctuary, sorry, yeah, Sanctuary.
Sanctuary, but then, yeah.
Played him in a very different way. It's quite a bizarre way that he played him, really, and it worked for him. He won. He won my game anyway. Just sort of teleporting. He'd not geared them up for any one single purpose of right. I'm going to be an all-out aggressive. It was I'm going to use my cards to score the glory. If that makes sense. It was I'm going to do some casting of spells to score this, and I'm going to do this teleporting to score this one. And it wasn't like one or the other. It wasn't an all-out aggressive, but he did play them quite. He was quite in your face with them, which was surprising. I expected them to sit right back.
Yeah.
They're quite brittle, aren't they?
They are
It's kind of almost
I
no
think-
style of play, but
yeah.
every card helped score the objectives and
Yeah.
went through and scored the glory.
Yeah.
I think it's like I said, use your 3. A bit like I got you do with your goblins. Use your 3 as a bit of a block for your main line, and just let him just keep doing out the damage.
I think the problem is there's not really a main guy, is there? I know you've got the Zangor dude with his big sword, but he's...
To be honest, I still think it's spells for that. I think from what I've seen now, I would have said relics before because of how the last guy played them and how quick he could have built them up, and he had 2 dodge, so he was re-rolling them.
I'd have liked him to be all out
Yeah.
spells. I'd have liked him to be very strong magically, but then they're not.
I
Yeah.
think for me, tomes, as I've
Yeah.
just written down on there, tomes on the Blue Horror,
Yeah.
and with
Crown of
maybe
Avarice
drop
on it.
sudden growth. Crown of Avarice would work on the Brimstone,
Yeah.
when he gets taken out of action.
But it just
And
carries
then-
over, doesn't it?
Then you just bring him back.
Bring him back.
So-
Yeah.
Tomes on and put him
Yeah.
on, so you've got to keep Vortimus
The-
alive.
The one there though is the Blue Horror allows them to play objective play very well because you can summon the Blue Horror your 3rd phase and then run him across onto an objective
At the back of the
at
enemy's
the back
board.
of the
or
enemy's
something.
board out of the way,
Yeah.
or you could summon him on a hex out of range of the enemy and then in the end card phase hit and pass him onto an objective on the edge.
I think they're an interesting one. I think they're one that we've all decided we're going to sit down and we're going to have a go with them at one event, aren't we?
I was just going to come on to that and say the Eyes of the Night off,
Yes.
and then say none of us know what we're doing, so it should be quite fun.
Yeah, I think it would be. 'Cause I think we're all going to do it
It would be,
different.
yeah.
And
Yeah. So we'll move on to Ash's new favourite troll.
Marlon.
I thought Josh actually.
Apparently, as I have noticed at Grand Clashes, some opponents do not like sound effects or shouting at them. He's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
I played him really defensive and just walked him around the bottom of the board. Long stride, burst of speed. That's 2 glory for just moving.
I think that there was,
Especially put calculated. I got calculated risk in there. That's 3 glory for moving through a lethal hex.
he's got the 2 stars and he's got the tones. So there's a really good article over on Steel City Underworlds that Mike Carlin wrote on the Catafrane tomes.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I told him like that. Don't read it. Don't read that riff-raff. No, can't read it.
I understood though that someone did read that riff-raff and then knocked him out of the Grand Clash with it.
He was really pleased at UK Games Expo that I got beaten by it.
Yeah. Yeah, Tomes is a great one for Mollog. You know, as I said earlier in the podcast, the glory is objective, score it, second window and get it again. It's pretty really easy there. He's aggressive though, isn't he? He's built to be aggressive. And
the other play is the aggro play, but then I just think he's too dicey with two hammers to be reliable.
I didn't like him.
But a hell of a lot of fun, I think.
He is fun, but with the amount of cleave that's out, especially against those
profiteers
are ridiculous against him with their cleave.
They're built at taking him down though,
take
because
little
it's
pots at
just
him.
keep little pots, and Draxura comes in to hopefully finish
Shank
him
him.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen light armour played with him as well to give him those three.
He's only got one
actually-
defence dice, so you very often going to need a crit, and then it's a 1 in 6, so you might as well have the extra dice to attack.
Yeah, so you got more. There's more dice on the table now for attack actions. 1 dice defence is becoming less relevant, isn't it?
Because to be honest, I used to actually take that. Thinking about taking that horrifying armor, because it always drops 1 by 1. But now with the amount of range that's in it now,
Jason.
it's not really that viable.
It's looking like Tomes or aggro from Mollog would be the consensus.
But he can't play defence. He can't play objectives because the stuff can't hold objectives. It's as simple as that.
So released at the same time as Mollog then was the Godsworn. So I mean, Ash took them and loved them and took 7 third end phase cards.
I think I may have ventured into the realms of 10. No, I played them quite defensive. I played Oath of Supremacy, and Our Only Way Out in there.
Objectives and things.
I went objective based with them, but I know Tom Bond again from Steel City's gone quite aggressive with them. They're like
I think
the
he's a
Reavers.
bit like how Joe does it. He tool that
Tool
one guy
one
up to do one job. Just go in there.
It's usually Jagathra, send her through a lethal hex to get you your calculated risk, throws a javelin in, and then she's there to score knowledge. So she might do some damage, she might not, but she's there anyway to do something. But you're just tooling them up, isn't it? I think Tom's probably
I think
he's done the best that I've known with him at big tournaments.
We'll plug him again. He is Mr. Godsworn, isn't he? So Steel City Underworlds. I think he's got in 2 articles on them, going through it, and they're well worth the read.
He's stuck with them though, hasn't he?
He's stuck with them. He's still not got a trophy with him now, has he not?
He hasn't, no.
He might as well have done though. Finishing top.
Yeah.
At 5 games, won 5, finishing top of day 1. That's a trophy, isn't it?
That's a trophy. That's an award in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a while. But how many Godsworn were there in the 2-day Grand Clash in the top 16? Was it 3?
I think. Because John Reese did as well. I think he was 4th maybe or 3rd on the day 1 scoring. He finished really high as well.
Because wasn't there actually only 1 or 2profiteers?
I don't even know if there was
I
that
don't-
many.
I think there's one profiteer card played in, Polish guy.
Yeah, because
Two
I
curse breakers.
was actually quite shocked.
It was
about
mainly
that, actually.
Godsworn and Mollog the last day.
Yeah.
Got both opposing ends of the spectrum, really. One quite brittle and one.
They've been really helped by I can't remember what it's called, so excuse me, but they got so they've always had 1 glory for killing immediately somebody with 4 wounds, and then they got 1 for 2 glory dropped in the power unbound. I think that's a good help, because most warbands, I think all warbands except goblins, if I'm not wrong, have somebody with 4 or more, or Godsworn themselves. So very often something's got 4, and you could potentially score 4 glory if you've got both of them objective cards and the kill, obviously. Yeah. So Godsworn can be pretty flexible.
They're quite flexible.
Yeah.
I think they started off weak, but now with the cards that have come in, they've built up.
Yeah, they're worth looking at again.
So
And
Josh's
they're beautiful models as well.
They are. Josh's favourite next to the elves.
Do actually people play them?
They play them well, Josh.
Well, actually they don't, because my Grand Clash ended brilliantly because I absolutely smashed the elves at the end, and it was great.
How did it end though at Board and Sword?
Well, I beat the only capable player who played them.
So Authority's Guardians.
They're a bit weird.
They look a strange setup mixture. You get one guy that's already a Stormcast Eternal stat wise from the get-go.
Inspired.
Yeah.
From the get-go, he's like Galanga.
Well, yeah, and he's better. And he's better with that. But that, it's got positives and negatives. It means a lot of people just avoid him.
Or did you play aggressive? Do you play defensive with I'm not sure how you meant to play.
Because
I'm still not sure how to
spells
play.
people take them out like that, but I think the thing is with them is they rely a lot on their defense dice because they're only a 3 wound warband, well apart from 1.
Galangan, yeah.
But it's one of them of I don't know. I think maybe they could do well in objective, just because of how well they do. I think it could catch some people out.
The Reclaim the Lamentary, which is the hold all objectives in
One player's game board. For 2 glory.
Which is, for 2 glory, which also means that the no man's territory is dead territory as well.
Yeah.
So when you're playing and putting those objectives down, you always see your opponents chucking all their objectives in your half to deny you from scoring it. I like to put one of my objectives in no man's land and then put one of my objectives just over the line in their territory. And then at the end of the turn, you can have either Ilthari or it's usually Anslane. Just snip over the border and grab that one for 2 glory.
Because I think the way I've seen people play them as well is tool the whatever the wizard one.
Authority.
Tool her up and go all out and score everything like that, or just.
She was playing with tomes on it. I played someone who beat me and he got tomes on it and it worked for him. I think they're quite a flexible deck. I think you just have to commit to what you're doing with it. And try not to get distracted by, I've got a good fight, so I'm going to change tactics mid-game and stuff. I think you need to go, I'm going out all aggressive or all spells and just stick with your tactic.
To be honest, let's play. Who actually really wants to play with them anyway?
I do. Oh my gosh, it's only you. It's only you.
Just because you've got something against elves. Yeah, Elvis.
Yes.
It's because Josh is so short.
Well, look at it. Look at all the times in any history you have, elves always claim to be so great like you lot, but fuck up the most like you lot.
But they also look like Liv Tyler. And you know what? Yeah.
What the fuck happened to you then? Were you shut out by it?
Oh, that's terrible.
There's nothing but
I'm
love
gonna
here.
have to bleep this out.
Leave it in.
we'll
Leave
keep
it
it
in.
in.
Let's put it
It's
as
not past
extra
9
rated.
o'clock, we're all good.
Yeah.
So finally, this is actually Josh's new favourite warband. They're short. They've got guns.
Yeah.
And profiteers. How do you play them?
Flexi, actually.
Flex.
If I come up against curse breakers, I actually go offensive to stop them hanging back, shooting. If I know I'm bursting someone like McGaw's or what.
Because curse breakers probably can
Yeah.
massively score you, so you need to deny that.
And then Malog or anything coming in offensive, well, I've got the range. Anyone who comes, basic Godsworn, anything like that, anyone who comes offensive, I think they play
You
really
do
well.
seem to play a great tactic of like a covering fire almost. It's sort of you send a guy forward to do a shot, then you've got the movement cast to push other people forward. So somebody's then got to commit to it, but you've got people stood there then waiting to, okay, they're only doing 1 damage here and there, but when it's got cleave in it and it's chipping away and it's chipping away and it's chipping away, and then you have your toxic gas, your encroaching shadows.
I think they're really good. I think they're a really good counter warband, just covering each other. But
When you say passive score, I mean, what are you saying there? Because when I look through those, there's a lot of
Thinking like calculated risk,
yeah,
things like that. Where so if he's playing against curse breakers, they've got Harness of Storm, Magical Supremacy. They've got a lot more that they can do like that. So you've got to go aggro, got to go at them because they'll just sit back and score.
I think curse breakers,
not high,
you
but
hit
more.
them early at the start because they've only got 1 shield anyway. And you're still chipping away. Just put the early pressure on them.
Yeah.
And not put them on the back foot a bit, really, because they're not exactly hard hitting at the start. It's only when they've built up and they've scored that glory that they start coming out and start doing the damage.
Yeah, I think more people need to go with the leader in Thundrick. I think he's
Not
not given the credit he deserves. I think he can be more
he is
beefy
really good.
with the right to steal weapon and stuff. I think he can be a lot better than people think he is.
I try. The only risk is putting him up front first. If he gets taken out, it's.
You can play him like that against me, Josh. I don't mind.
But I'll always hang him back. But then I'll do hidden paths or fame way or something, bring him up into the battle.
I think because you got the guy that hits on 4 Fury, for scoring headshot, and then you've got I think Lund, is it, with it's got cleave.
Lund's got cleave straight
So
up. Deadeye's got cleave.
You almost put more value in those because they're scoring you those objective cards, rather than Thundrick is just there to almost inspire. But actually, is he 2 hammers, 2 damage from his range?
At the start, he's 2 hammers, 1 damage.
Goes up to 2.
Yeah. But he gains cleave.
Range 3 doing 2 damage.
2 shields as well.
It's a good hit. Yeah, and with cleave, he starts getting good.
It's like I said, two people with cleave. Then you've got chipped some damage off. Draxio comes in, finish him off, either 2 or 3 damage if he's inspired.
I don't know how good his reaction is of dropping those lethal hexes around him, because I've not seen anybody do anything with it. With the range now.
Yeah, the range, it doesn't really matter anymore. The only person it's worked against has been when I versed a McGaw's player.
It stopped me going in one of our games. I won't reveal anything because it's going to be coming up on YouTube, but it did prevent me doing something that I wanted to do because I didn't have range in that warband.
Yeah. The one thing is, though, if you've got a short offset game board where you've got an avenue between, and you've got like 3 hexes, Thundrick can sit in the middle there and block his hex, and then the 2 around him, suddenly you've got to go through lethal hexes to get through.
Yeah, there's a lot of tactics. I think with them though, it's relying on each other, keep them covering each other basically, because. Let's face it, you're going to lose someone.
You do have your lethal ward, encroaching shadow, toxic gas, a lot of just to finish things off. Then twist the knife and
trap, because it's
trap. Not twist the knife, trap.
You can have shattering terrain as well, which is okay, but normally a lot of the times people will try and stay away, try and keep out of your range anyway until they commit. So.
Or you play it and then you miss that attack. Yeah. Whereas with the beauty of trap, you're playing it when you want to play it. You're not trying to preempt something. It's quite flexive, Profiteers. So that kind of brings us to a conclusion then. Yeah. So I'm looking, I thought it'd be about 30 minutes, but that's like 1 hour and 22 at the minute. So if you've stuck around for the 50 minutes extra that we've done, thank you very much.
We know what we're playing next. Anyone want to shout what they're playing next, or are we not bothering?
We're playing Guardians next.
I'm actually going to play my Batmalog for a while.
I think I'll be playing Guardians for another event perhaps, and then I've finished the Profiteers, so I want to get those on the board. I'm quite excited to play something a little bit like the Fast Riders, but a little bit different.
And I'm going to be sticking up some warbands on the Facebook page and letting everyone else decide.
And everyone vote.
There'll be 3 that I'm putting up there, so we'll have one of a
seamless link. So if you want to decide what Ash is going to play next, give us a follow on Facebook. Jump over there. So Ready for Action over there. If you haven't already, click subscribe here on YouTube, which this is now going out on. Although we will also be releasing this on the podcast apps for people like myself. I listen to podcasts when I'm commuting and stuff, so having YouTube on isn't really an option. So we put it on there. But if you are watching this or listening to it, I suppose, on YouTube, give us a subscribe. That helps us grow. Anything else anyone wants to add?
No, thanks for listening.
No, thanks for listening. Like,
if you do see
us a bit of a share as well, if you can,
And if you see us at any shows, come and speak to us. Come and say hello. I know a lot of people are, and people recognise our voices, which is
you're recognised.
Got that sexy voice. That's what
Thank
it is.
you very much.
It's all those school mums who are joining in.
They love it.
It is. It's cool. Thanks for listening. See you around, guys.
See you.
Thank you very much.